guys, this is Elisa. So I got a request to do a part 2 technology question, and so here it is. We are going to use one answer to answer 5 different questions on technology. So I hope that this will give you answers for any technology question that you get. I'm also going to walk you guys through exactly how I came up with my answer. I did it pretty quickly, so let me show you what I did. So before we get into my answer, let me tell you what the questions are. So the 5 questions are: describe a time when you started using a new technological device. Describe your favorite gadget. Describe a piece of technology you like using except for computers. Talk about a piece of technology that you couldn't live without. And talk about some technology that you have just started using fairly recently. Okay, so we're going to answer all of those questions. The one that I started with is the first one, which is describe a time when you started using a new technological device. So yeah, I'm actually not a big technology person. Phone, computer, does TV count? Yeah, that's kind of it for me. So I had to really kind of think about what I could do this about. And so it's not something that I actually own. It's something that I've thought about getting and might end up getting myself for Christmas. So it is the Echo Show, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what I did to answer this question. And so basically I went to 2 websites, and the first one I went to is Amazon, and I looked up the Echo Show. So I'm going to show you guys that. So I looked it up, and I basically took a look at the different pictures that it has. I took a look at this video that is here. I played the video and got an idea of what this does. I scrolled through to kind of look at the description, and I kind of wanted to keep in mind that I wanted to be able to give at least 2 examples of how I could use this. And so I got all of that from this Amazon page. I got most of it from the video. So I'm telling you guys this because you can do the exact same thing. You don't have to actually have this device. Maybe it's something you want. Maybe it's something you're curious about. Maybe you are just scrolling around Amazon and you just happen to see it. It doesn't matter. Even a device that you have, you might not just be able to just pop off an answer, and so this can help you with that. All right, so this is my original answer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you my original answer, and then I'm going to show you how I kind of cleaned it up a little bit. So my original answer, truth be told, I literally just freeballed it and was talking into my phone giving the answer. So here's my answer. I'm going to tell you about one of the most amazing new pieces of technology that I've recently purchased. It's called the Echo Show. It's basically an Alexa device with a screen. It's so incredible. This is hands down one of the best purchasing decisions I've ever made. When I bought this, I already had an Alexa Echo. I loved it. I used it all the time. But I wanted to be able to use it in the kitchen to make recipes, and I thought it would be a lot easier if I could actually see those recipes while talking to my device. That's the original reason I purchased it. What I didn't realize was all of the other really cool things I'd be able to do with it. Now, instead of just asking Alexa to tell me what I have to do for that day, this can actually show me my calendar. Seeing things visually makes getting my day started easy as pie. I can also use this to call people. We can do video calls and voice calls. This really comes in handy when I want to call my grandma because with COVID, I don't get to see her as often as I would like. One of the things that has been really helpful is that it can show me my to-do list. Lately, I've had a lot of things on my plate, and it really puts me at ease when I can just see what I have to do for the day. Oh, and did I mention I can watch TV? Sometimes when I'm in the kitchen cooking, it's nice to just be able to watch TV while I'm making dinner. I find cooking relaxing as it is, but when I can watch my favorite shows, it really allows me to let my hair down. Honestly, I am so over the moon about this purchase. Okay, so that was my original answer, and the answer that I end up with is pretty similar. Actually, right now as I'm speaking to you, I don't have my final answer yet because I am going through this process with you so you can really see everything that I'm doing. So that answer, I kind of just like spitballed it into my phone on a Google document, and I was just kind of just saying what kind of came out naturally. Now, in the back of my mind, I did have the idioms that I like to use. So I have a video, I will link it in the description below, about idioms that I like to use that are happy, relaxing, and easy idioms. And I use, I think, one of each of those in here, and I've just kind of had that in the back of my mind, wanting to make sure that I got them in. I did get in some other phrases and idioms. Those just kind of came out of me naturally. If you're not a native speaker, that might not happen for you. But getting in, the easy, relaxing, and happy idiom, that you can definitely do. And that's 3, and that's plenty. So you can see those where I got them in. But I made some changes because of just answering the 5 questions. And so what I did is I went through the you should says. And you don't have to answer the you should says. You don't have to actually follow exactly what they say. Those are just a guide, but I did go through them just so I could feel like I was answering the question, and I ended up adding a couple of sentences, a couple of more details just to fully cover that. And so I'll show you. This is what I added. So the second question, it's not really in any particular order, but the way that I looked at them, the second question is describe your favorite gadget, and one of the you should says says, when did you get it? So I added to my answer that I got it about 6 months ago, and so now that sentence looks like this. I'm going to tell you about one of the most amazing new pieces of technology that I've purchased about 6 months ago. So literally all I did is say that I got it 6 months ago, and boom, we have fulfilled that question. Yay! All right, so on to the next question. The next question is describe a piece of technology that you like using except for computers. And one of the you should says said, how did you learn about it? So I added a little bit about how I learned about it. And so now that part of my answer looks like this. I randomly found it while looking for things to buy on Amazon. How simple is that? That's pretty easy. You could say that about pretty much anything because everything is on Amazon. So the next question is talk about a piece of technology that you couldn't live without. And one of the you should says is, what does it look like? And so I kind of sort of already said, I kind of described it, but I didn't really get into what it looked like, and I still don't, but I do add another sentence to describe it a little bit more. And so now that part of my answer looks like this. It's basically an Alexa device with a screen. It's not that much bigger than a phone. And the last question is talk about a piece of technology that you started using fairly recently. And with this one, I actually didn't change anything. Okay, so then the next thing that I wanted to do was just kind of take a little bit of a look at my vocabulary and go through all of the words that I thought were good vocabulary and see if possibly I could add any in there. And so the first thing I am going to do is kind of count the good vocabulary that I have. I'm not really looking for a specific number. More than 5 would be good. And what counts as good vocabulary are phrasal verbs, idioms, and just words that are longer than 6 letters. And so I want to have at least 5, but really with all of those categories, I'd like to be somewhere around 7 to 10. And so let's just kind of see where I am. Okay, so I just counted because I really am doing this in real time, and I have exactly 10. I have more than 10 words that are over 7 letters, but some of them are like looking, so that doesn't count. What counts is kind of going to be your judgment, but just good adjectives that are not little baby words that are said all the time. Some of my words are said a little bit frequently, like amazing and incredible. So I'm going to go over all of them with you now. And so I might end up changing some of those words, and I'll show you 2 different ways that you can do that. Okay, so good time to go over some vocabulary. So here are the words, the vocabulary that I use. So I'm going to do amazing and incredible together because they basically mean the same thing. They are synonyms for each other, and they just mean wow. So if you think something is amazing or if you think something is incredible, then you just think it's awesome. It's really great. You're really happy with it. This is a full-on positive word. You just think that something is whoa, wow, cool. Also cool. Let's just throw cool in there. That was one of my words as well. So amazing, incredible, cool. These are all synonyms for each other with the way that I use them here, and they all just mean you really like something. So if you want to say you really like something and you need an adjective, amazing, incredible, cool, all of those work. Those are all good vocabulary for this exam. So another phrase that I use is hands down, and hands down just means not even a contest. There was no competition. This is what it is. This is hands down the best. This is hands down the worst. There's just no competition. If we're listing things 1 through 10, Echo Show is 1, and then there's like this huge gap before we get to 2. So we're just saying like it wasn't a contest. This was easily, and you're always comparing. So this is easily the best. This is easily the worst. There's no competition. There's no argument here. Everybody agrees, like this is it. Now in this case, everybody is not having an opinion, but you're just saying, in my opinion, there's no competition, there's no contest. This is the best. Now you could say hands down, that is the worst meal I've ever eaten. So it's not even close. I don't even have to think about it. It is so obvious. This is disgusting. This is the worst thing I've ever had. The second worst thing I've ever had tastes so much better than this. So you're just saying like, there's no competition here. There's no contest. It is hands down the best. Hopefully the best. Could be the worst. Purchasing is another word that I use, and that just means to buy something. So I'm going to the store to buy something. I'm going to the store to purchase something. They are direct synonyms. You can use them interchangeably. That just means you can use one for the other. So to purchase means to buy. Comes in handy is another phrase that I use, and that just means it's useful. So kitchen scissors really come in handy. So kitchen scissors are really useful. And so you can use come in handy anytime you want to say that something is useful. You can use come in handy interchangeably with useful. So you could say, having a blanket is really useful at night. Having a blanket really comes in handy at night. So you can use one for the other. For the most part, I don't want to say always, just because it's an idiom. So idioms are a little bit trickier with that, but I'm going to say most of the time you can go ahead and you can use them interchangeably. If you want to try it on a sentence, you can put it in the comments and I'll try to respond to it. So then we had easy as pie, which just means easy. We had over the moon, which just means happy. We had let my hair down, which just means relax. Those 3 idioms are in the video I made about 15 IELTS idioms that you can use, so you can check that out if you want to get more examples about those 3. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do is just see if I can upgrade my vocabulary. Quite frankly, I think my answer is perfectly fine the way that it is. But just in case you didn't naturally get some of this great vocabulary in there, first of all, you should have been able to get in the 3 idioms because you should have already watched my video about IELTS idioms. But if you just want to upgrade your adjectives, I'm going to show you how to do that. So the first thing that you can do is you can choose 3 to 5 words that you want to upgrade. These should be adjectives, just because it's easier to upgrade adjectives directly. and we always want to do the thing that is the easiest. And so what you can do is choose 3 to 5 and Google them. Just Google the meaning of the words, take a look at the list of adjectives that come up, and see if you like any of them. Caution. What I also want you to do is, if you like an adjective, I want you to Google the adjective and see how it is used in a sentence. Because just because something is a synonym does not mean it's interchangeable, because it can be like a little bit different, and you want to see how the word is actually used. So make sure you Google to look up the synonyms. Then once you find the synonym, Google the synonym in a sentence to make sure you're going to use it correctly, and then you can slip it in there. So that's one way you can do it. If you just don't have any adjectives and you're like, I don't know, there's a list of adjectives from a website that I will put in the description below, and you can take a look at some of the adjectives there, and they're broken down by mood, which is really great. So in this case, we're happy, we're excited about something, so we can look at the happy, excited adjectives, and we can choose 3 to 5 of them to add to our answer. So let's take a look. So you can get this list of adjectives online through this website. On the website, you can also download this PDF that I have up, and it doesn't have a bunch of ads, so I just thought it was easier. But they're all from the same place, and so you can see a positive tone, a negative tone, other tone, positive feelings, negative feelings. So we can take a look at some of the things that maybe would make sense for what we're talking about. It would definitely be something that's positive. It's not going to be anything that is negative, because we're really happy when we're answering this question. So we could call the device attractive. That's definitely something that we could do. We could say it makes us feel cheerful. We could call it delightful. We could say we're excited. We could call it wonderful. We could say we're appreciative that we have the device. We're content. We're ecstatic. We're elated, joyful, jubilant, merry. We can use any of these. So hopefully now you see how you can build your answer. You don't actually have to have a device that you use. You can use a device that maybe you want or you're kind of looking at. And then you can go ahead and make your answer from there. So I do want you guys to notice I do still use my structure. So I gave you my first sentence, which you should write down. I've said in previous videos, I've just seen students really struggle with just getting out that first sentence. So when you have your 2 minutes to prepare, write down that first sentence. So I give you my first sentence, and my first sentence is, I'm going to tell you about one of the most amazing new pieces of technology that I purchased about 6 months ago. And it starts with I'm going to tell you, which is so basic, which is boring, but works on this exam, and also just make sure that you're always going to be able to get something out. And as I was writing my answer, it made it really easy for me to just kind of go and get into it. I also give you background information, so I explain to you where I got it from. I explain to you why I purchased it. So all of that is background information. And then I give you details about how I use it. I tell you that I can use it to see my calendar. I can use it to call my grandma. Calling my grandma is kind of my example. I don't get into a really detailed example with this one. I kind of give you 3 things that I can do with it. So I can call my grandma. I already told you I can look at recipes, but I can also see my calendar, and I can watch TV shows on it. So I give you all of that information too. So I'm still following the structure. I'm still like, okay, I've told you one thing I can do. I've told you a second thing I can do. I've told you a third thing I can do. So you can always do a third thing, or you can give an example. But as you can see, as I'm giving you the things that I do with it, I'm not just going, I can call people on it. No, I'm giving you like sentences about each of them, which is why my answer is going to last for 2 minutes. The other thing that I want to note that I did is I timed myself reading this. So I timed my answer, and just reading it, it was about 1 minute and 40 seconds. And so I always say you want to be at about 1 minute and 30 seconds when you're just reading it, because in the exam, you're going to go slower, you're going to stumble, things that you're going to do that will drag it out to that 2-minute mark. Now, 1 minute and 40 seconds is absolutely fine, but go over 2 minutes, that's okay. They'll just stop me, but I'll still have had a really great answer, and that's not going to affect my score negatively. The other thing that I just want to say is when I recorded my answer, or when I timed my answer, I did my original answer before I went back and added those extra things in. Now, with this answer, we really didn't add in too much. I think I only added in like maybe 3 or so sentences. So depending on which question I get, I would definitely make sure that I got in the specific sentence for that question. But I really wouldn't have to take anything out. If I wanted to, I guess I could say an extra sentence or two on the fly about a question. And the really great thing about this is I'm pretty sure you can use this to answer any technology question that they throw at you. So I really encourage that when you do this, don't make it about your phone or a computer, because they might tell you not to. Also, it'd be hard to say you recently started using a phone or a computer. So by making it about something else, this really opens you up to being able to use it for multiple questions. All right, so that's it. We did it a little bit differently today. I hope you liked it. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell because I will have new content coming out pretty much every week. All right, guys, thank you. Bye.